Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to start out by giving infinite praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Kakodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well. And peace and salutations to the elect men pushing out this word in truth and sincerity. This is your brother Yakanah from the DC Church. And the topic I wanted to touch on today, and Lord's will, this video is entitled, The Lord's Timing is Perfect, right? Because, we're in a time period where we're in the time period, in the time period being a grace period, a time for us to kill off the old man and be renewed in our minds and being made better men and, and perfect men in faith and getting better and better until the perfect day, and the only thing that's separating us from, us being, truly tested and tried, our final trial, which is going to be, Jacob's trouble, and ultimately receiving the reward of the kingdom once we're tried and refined and proven. It's time, and this goes into all aspects of your life, because it's not only the kingdom, it's not only the kingdom that can be used to teach you that patience and the Lord's timing. And basically, the Lord's timing on any scale, right? The Lord does all this on a lower scale because He intervenes with all these things that are happening. Whether it be micro or macro. Basically meaning big or small. Whether it has to do with anything concerning prophecy or has anything to do with you specifically. The Lord's timing is perfect, and especially if He deals with you as He deals with sons. His timing for His timing for your trials and tribulations. Those are also going to happen in due time and in due season. And Him to deliver you up out of a trial and deliver you, and show you mercy. That's also done, in due time, in due season, basically meaning at the perfect time, because the Lord's timing is perfect. Sometimes it's not about, a lot of the times it's not about what specifically happens. It's about at what time it happens, So you could be technically right about something, but if the timing is off, then it's null and void, Timing has a lot to do with, what the Lord, how the Lord deals with, and He deals with righteous timing. So I'm going to start off by getting a few scriptures. This is Lamentations chapter 3, verse 22. It says, "It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because His compassions fail not." Yeah, it's because of the Lord's mercies that we're not consumed. Us as a nation and us as an individual, because we're walking through this, we're doing this walk of faith right now, right? So on a lower scale, when it comes to us as, the Lord's servants, it's because of the Lord's mercies that we're not consumed, right? Whether it be consumed by the world or consumed or consumed as and consumed by the world and, going back into our people, consumed as a nation, Now, it said, this is verse 23. "They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore I will have hope in Him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for Him, to the soul that seeketh Him." The Lord is good unto them. The Lord is good unto them that wait for Him, and that just goes to show you have to have patience, and He's going to be good unto you after you wait for Him. But that goodness is going to come in due season, in due time and season. You have to have the faith that eventually the Lord is going to do good unto you. He's going to reward you for, having faith in Him, and seeking Him. This is verse 26. It says, "It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he may bear the yoke in his youth." So not only do you have to wait upon the Lord, it's good for you to do it in your youth. You know, why you still have all your cognitive abilities, why you're still able to function at a high level, when you're still able to, you know, when you're still able to adapt and change yourself, you know, and become a new man, you know, because it's easier, you know, it's easier to become a new man and be renewed in your mind when you are a younger man, you know, and you know, most people know this, you know, that's why when you're, you know, a child, it's easier to train up a child in which he may go. Scripture says it's easier to train a child which he may go so he doesn't fall astray. And also, you know, even when you compare it in real life, it's like a kid learning a language, right? It's easy for them to absorb information and use that information because there's nothing else in there. You know, it's an empty vessel that you could fill with just with all good things. But if you don't, you know, with if you the older that you get, the more seasoned that you get in other things, that vessel becomes, you know, dirty. You know, it has impurities, so it's harder for you to be able to retain the things that you need to retain when you have impurities in yourself. You know. And of course, we all have impurities, right? Because none of us were, you know, raised in the truth or anything like that, or a lot of us wasn't raised in the truth. But you know, it's easier for you to, you know, forego those impurities and get rid of those impurities when you're a young man, you know, as opposed to an old and seasoned man. But nothing is impossible through the Lord, you know. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. It says, "But beloved, be not ignorant of one thing, that the one day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day." Right? So the Lord's timing is different. You know, the way that the Lord looks at things is way different than you and I would, you know, regularly. And the reason is because we're in these earthen vessels, right? We 1,000 years is basically 1,000 generations for ourselves, you know. But 1,000 years is as one day to the Lord. You know, the whole concept of time is, you know, we don't even really understand the whole concept of time when we're trying to compare it to how we look at it from, you know, a carnal perspective. You know, the Lord's timing is, you know, perfect, and these things are happening quick. These things are happening quicker than what you may believe, right? And that just goes to show that, hey, what you may be going through, what you may be waiting on the Lord for, you know, it may not be the time nor the season. You know, the Lord has the Lord 1,000. It may feel like you've been waiting for, you know, an extended period of time, but the Lord, the way the Lord sees it is that, you know, the way that the Lord has it is that, you know, it's happening, it's being hastened and it's being done at the perfect time. You know, it's actually being done relatively quick when you look at it from that perspective. You know, whether it be, you know, the Lord's return, or maybe it be a trial or tribulation that He has you going through, right? Now it says, the Lord is not slack concerning His promise. The Lord is not slack compared as concerning His promise. He's not slothful in business. The Lord knows exactly what He needs to do. You know, it says, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward. Right. So you got to look at it. A lot of the things that, you know, the Lord, you know, the Lord is doing, whether it be, you know, until the day of the kingdom, or whether it be, you know, through your own personal journey, you have to count it. You have to count it as long suffering to you, that you may be that you wouldn't perish and that you would come to repentance, right? So anything that the Lord, any reward that the Lord doesn't allow you to get, or deliverance, or deliverance that from a specific situation that doesn't happen at the time that you want it, you got to keep in mind that it could really be the Lord saving you. It could be the Lord being long suffering to you, so you're able to either learn from your mistakes, or be what's it called? Learn from your mistakes and and become better, so you're able to get and maintain those things and get and maintain those things and be able to withstand the times that are coming. You know. So the Lord is really, you got to look at it from a perspective of the Lord can be saving you from a lot of heartache and a lot of a lot of bad times by Him, just being long suffering to you, so that you can get the thing, you can get yourself right. You know. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works therein shall be burnt up. Because those are the times, that's the ultimate trial that's coming. That's the time where, we really have to be prepared. You know, like I said, a lot of things are being done micro and macro, right? A lot of things are done on a small and large scale. The small battles and the small deliverances that we go through, in our day-to-day lives, is preparing us for what we're going to see in that time, in those days, right? The day of the Lord, right? Where all these things are going to happen, and this is where you're going to need all that faith that you built over time to be able to get through those times, So you have, the scriptures talk about woe unto them that desire the day of the Lord, and that's for those. And it's really reserved for those that aren't prepared or aren't ready for those times. A lot of, and especially when it comes to the modern day Christian church and stuff like that, they'll say that they want they're waiting on the Lord, but they're not spiritually capable of withstanding the times that are to come. The Lord is the Lord. It seems like the time is being is tearing to them, because they're not watching and praying. And on top of that, there's no process that's going on that what's it called? There's no process in the in between time that's going on in their congregation that lets them know that they're getting closer. Whether it be the prophecies that are to pass, or them becoming them building themselves up in the faith. Now, this is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 11. It says, seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So seeing that everything is going to be done away with, and the elements are going to melt with fervent heat, and these, and basically, a whole new world in the kingdom is going to be established, that's contrary to what we're living in right now. What manner of persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness? And the answer to that is, a godly and righteous man. That's the manner of persons that we're striving to be. And that's why the scriptures talk about putting on as the elect, right? You have to put on as the elect. You have to have that breastplate of righteousness. You have to prepare yourself for the times that are going to come, and you have to have faith that the Lord is going to deliver you. When those times come, because the Lord is working. The Lord is working, and we see His works, and we see it on a big scale, on a large scale, and we see it on a small scale. Whether it's the Lord hastening the time to deliver you up out of a tribute, whatever you're going through in your personal life, or the Lord making His return and establishing the kingdom on a large scale, which is the ultimate thing that we're waiting for. That's the final trump. That's the end of it all. That's the end of our faith ultimately. This is Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 22. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in His time. The Lord will the Lord will hasten everything in His time. The Lord is in control of the times. The Lord will hasten things in due time, in due season. You know, the Lord has control of all these things, and the Lord's timing is perfect. So he's hastening the day, and he's hastening the things that are to come. This is Sirach chapter 39, verse 16. It says, all the works of the Lord are exceeding good. And these are the works of the Lord. You know, the things that he's promising you, turn the mercies, you know, and the promises that were passed down for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are exceeding good, you know. And it says, whatsoever he commandeth shall be accomplished in due season. So whatever he says is going to be done in due time, in due season, you know, and it's good, you know. There will never be an instance where the Lord, like, damn, where you could say, damn, the Lord should have made that happen sooner, or damn, the Lord did it too quick. The Lord does things in due time and due season, right? So meaning it's due, like meaning it's at the right time, you know, the perfect time. And that time is being hastened right now. You know, that time is being hastened a lot right now. So we're in the time period where the Lord is going to make things happen quick. You know, we see how much prophecy is popping off right now. You know, the Lord is also going to the same like thing is going to happen to you in your walk of life. The Lord was going to hasten the trials that you're going to go through, hasten the deliverances, and hasten the things that you have to go through, so you could be prepared. So you could be prepared for the times to come. Right. So with the times being hastened, with the Lord bringing the day of the Lord quicker and quicker, brothers are going to have to be brought on a level way that much more quicker. And that goes for brothers that's, you know, just coming into the camp, and that also goes for seasoned brothers that's already in the camp. You know, the trials that they're going to go through, that they need to go through to be able to prepare for them, to be able to build them up to a level to where they're able to withstand the times to come. Is, you know, it's going to happen very, very rapidly, very, very quick. So there's not going to be a dull moment very, very soon. You know, it's going to feel like Shake can't catch a break. You know, and it's also going to feel like, damn, the Lord is intervening a whole lot more when, you know, that deliverance comes, right? And all these stuff is being done at this perfect time because, you know, the Lord is bound to his word. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 22. It says, and except those days be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So the days are being shortened for the elect's sake. And with the days being shortened for the elect's sake, like I said previously, you know, the things that the elect are going to have to go through to prepare them for that perfect day is going to happen a lot faster in this specific time period that we're in right now, because we see the signs and we see the times and we see the prophecies popping off. So with that happening, you know, we have to be built up. You know, we have to be broken down. We have to be built up and continue being made perfect men through faith. You know, this is Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna skip that, and I'm gonna just skip down to Matthew. I'm gonna just end it off in Matthew the 24th chapter, the 14th verse. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 14, and it says, "And this gospel of the kingdom and shall be preached unto all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." So the world, we're in the time period where, you know, this gospel, you know, is going to be preached. This gospel is being preached onto all four corners, right? So we're in the time period where the end is coming. You know, this gospel is preached onto all four corners, you know, and even if not every place has a street ministry, the word is traveling, you know, at lightning pace through, you know, the unicorn, which is the internet. You know, the internet is giving us, interconnects everybody all throughout the four corners, right? And this word is being preached unto all of them, you know. And with that already being accomplished, the end is near, the end is come, you know. But the Lord is not going to show himself completely and make his appearance until all be fulfilled, right? Because the scriptures say not one jot or tittle will in no wise pass from these scriptures until all be fulfilled. So the Lord is doing everything in due time and due season, right? So the word is already preached unto all the four corners. So what's left? The only thing that's left is the elect to be sealed, and once the elect is fully sealed, which they probably, more than likely is probably already has happened. The times are going to be the times are going to be hastened and shortened. You know, if the Lord is already called, if the men that needed to be called are already called right now, then the times all that's really left is just time. You know, and of course a building up process. But you know, the Lord is going. Like I said, the Lord is even going to hasten that too. So the days are being shortened, and we see it. And one of the biggest indicators that we can see how it's being shortened is because, I like how I said, on a large scale and a small scale, we see the prophecies passing on the large scale. You know, we see these prophecies happening. We're seeing the things that we've been talking about for years, you know, being brought to life at a fast rate, you know, and we're preparing spiritually, mentally, you know, and physically, you know. And with that, I'm going to say, call Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you know, double honors to my apostle, elders, a great millstone that rule well, and peace of citations to the elect men that push it out this word in truth and sincerity. Till next time, I want to say Shalom.